Hello my friends, this is Boat Game Nature Boy. Today we have something very special for you. But before we get into that, let's not forget Monday is Mrs. Philhanded's birthday. There will not be a video, nor will there be a stream. Now that being said, while I am on the subject of guest footage, Tuesday, we're going to have some guest footage by Jarhead. You've seen some of his stuff on the channel before. Very awesome guy. Reminds me a lot of this gentleman right here, TheChuckster, 815 or 518. One of those two. Both very good Iowa players. Now, back to the game at hand here. Folks, I have a very amazing footage here of some Iowa action for you. Now, I've watched it, and it's pretty much like the description says on his channel. You look at it, you're like, yeah, we're not going to be able to make it happen, but he makes it happen. Do with that what you will. Moving on. Now, as you can see here, folks, the game is just starting out. We're just getting into it. Now, while there's kind of a little bit of a lull in action, guys, make sure to go down to the description box right under the video. Go down to the bottom where it says World of Warship Peeps or something. And there you will find this gentleman with a link to his channel. Go over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, so every time he uploads, you'll be aware of it, and check his stuff out. He is on PlayStation, so I may have some PlayStation viewers who could check him out, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. Either way, get on over there and get up in there. Moving on. Rounds downrange on the Vanguard here. Now, you look at it and you're like, that's not, we're not going to really do a whole lot on that shot. And it takes so unearthly long to get there. But when he hits, it's like 24, 26K. I don't even know. It's a lot. It's a big chunk of this gentleman right here. And that is kind of the rub, though. He is hitting this gentleman from, I have to be honest. I think at this distance, the curvature of the Earth may come into play. I'm sure it will. I am not a quote-unquote seaman, so I don't know exactly how you would target a ship that far away realistically. Either way, folks, it was a hell of a shot. Second shot, it didn't really do anything. And guys, we've all been there where you fire that shot and you really think you're going to lay it on him, and it just doesn't happen. Now, he is slowing down a little bit here. So the Chuckster is kind of, making up for that, so to speak, with his aiming. And it's going to hit him just perfectly amidships, and man, it decorates him right there. Citadel finally. Now, we didn't get a Citadel on the first one, but we did absolutely regulate on that gentleman. So right now we're up to 50K. The game has just started. Going to the top of the board there, we're one ship down. Not necessarily a big deal, because they're about to lose this Vanguard, whether they want to or not. Because we're about to come through again here, and we're about to send him straight down to the channel. Now we're going to start to quarter in a little bit right here, just specifically so if we take any kind of rounds, we can kind of deflect him a little bit, because we did take a little bit of fire earlier, but it wasn't necessarily a big deal. But like I said, guys, you folks know very well it could have been a big deal, because a lot of times you think you're angled up and you get the crap walloped out of you, kind of like that. We just lost half our health. And if you look at this, and you look at the timer on the video, you're like, well, not much more is going to happen. That's where you're wrong. Because the Chuckster here makes the magic happen. He shows these folks who cuts the cantaloupe, and it is the gentleman operating the Iowa. Now, we're going to see if we can't finally get rid of this guy right here. He's bugging us. He's spamming HE on us. It's just not a good look for us. We're not fans of being on fire, although, if you operate a battleship in this game, you pretty much have to be okay with being on fire 95% of the game. But we're going to see if we can't possibly pull this shot here, get rid of him. We don't necessarily. We take him down to a one-shot, though. But we're already up 70+K. I mean, we are making it happen. Going back to the top of the board, we've kind of went up a little bit. We're two ships now down to their one. If we could get this guy, we get rid of him, we can kind of even it up a little bit. Now here we're quartering away, which is a really good look because we've got multiple guys putting rounds on us, And if we stern tank them, there's a good chance that we're going to be at an odd angle to different folks. And that's something we really need to go into. When you're in a battleship, it's kind of like Andre the Giant says in The Princess Bride. He's never really used to fighting one person at a time. That's kind of how battleships are. You know, you may be angled up perfectly to somebody, but somebody else you may be giving broadside shots. So you kind of have to play your hand very carefully. Don't overextend, and just essentially play cautiously the entire time. Now, granted, you know, we're still up a lot of damage, 80k plus, almost 90. We're out here, we're making it happen, and I feel like that, you know, we still have a lot of life left in us. If we can be left alone and we can get some repairs going, you know, maybe we could eke out, you know, half to a third of our total HP here, and we can kind of, you know, circle the wagons a little bit, so to speak. Now, the good thing about the Iowa, folks, is it's only got 3 turrets. There's nothing amidships. You know, you don't have to turn the thing sideways in order to get all the guns on target. You have 2 in the fore, which means if you're bow tanking somebody, you've got 66% of your firepower. So you don't necessarily have to swing the rear end around to get that other gun on there. So just something to think about. Hit the crap out of that gentleman right there. Damage one of his guns. Really good shot. I have a feeling the Chuckster ought to play the lottery because, man, he is getting lucky. Moving on. As you can see here, we're starting to go full left rudder. And just essentially because if you kind of step back and look at the mini-map, if people decide to focus on us, it's not going to be a good look. Like this gentleman right here we're putting fire on. We're broadside to him. He's broadside to us. God almighty, he is at the bottom of the channel right now. But he could have put rounds on us. So it was a good look that the Chuckster decided to end him, as it were, Moiki Teak. Because, like I said, you have so many people shooting at you from so many different angles. And let me tell you, if anybody out there sees anything with low health, they're like, oh, it's a free kill. Let me up in that hole. No, absolutely not. It is our hole, and we're going to hang on to it. Going back to the top of the leaderboard, things have changed here, folks. We are 3 down to their 4 down. The battle is starting to tip. We're at 133k. We are out here. We are making it happen. We have almost doubled our DCR, damage cost received. I'm not really sure if they're going to bring those stats into World of Warships, but I sure as heck know they're in World of Tanks, so they'll probably be here at some point. But, you know, essentially what that boils down to, folks, is you want to at least cover your damage of your ship. Meaning, if you die, you need to do 72,000 damage just to kind of break even on your DCR. You don't want to go in the hole on your damage cost received. Enough about the numbers and the stats. Let's get back to the game. Now, what we're doing here, folks, is we're going to try to, you know, mop up, essentially. If we could get rid of some of these guys who are half health, third health, or in this guy's case, a one-shot, if we can connect with him, then that's another piece of the puzzle we have kind of solved. Somebody else that can't set us on fire. And while we're doing this, is I know a lot of folks say, well, bullshit, and you target, you know, the bigger ships do more damage. Yes and no, because let me tell you, the smaller guys, the cruisers, the DPM monsters, they load that HE and they will just spam the ever-living crap out of you. So it is a good idea to sink them as soon as possible, simply for the fact that, oh wow, this guy's in trouble, simply for the fact that they can cause a lot of damage to you over a period of time. Now, granted, are they going to come out, they're going to alpha you and put you at the bottom of the channel? No. But they can DPM you. They can, you know, put the high X on you. So this is a very good thought. He's low health. If we can get a solid hit at this point, I think if we can get any hit, because we fired on this gentleman before, and you guys have seen it before. You fire, it looks good, it's perfect amidships, and it does absolutely nothing. So, you know, we can't necessarily fault anyone for that. Happens to all of us, and it essentially boils down to RPG, RNG. Whew. Either one. Moving on, 145,000 damage here. Going back to the top of the board, we're not necessarily doing so good that we can't fumble as a team, but things are looking our direction. However, this gentleman right here does have an enormous amount of health, more along the lines of 3/4, but he is kind of broadside to us. And the Amagi is something very, very, oh my god, I feel some type of way. That was amazing. You know, going back to me saying I watched the video up to a certain point. I didn't get that part. That was amazing. That was, I want to write Chuckster hate mail for this guy on his behalf. Chuckster, that was wrong, baby. It was beautiful. I was going to say that the Amagi is pretty tough because of the torpedo belt, the armor belt around the ship, because it reduces torpedoes by 50%, and torpedoes are like the biggest threat to battleships other than, you know, other battleships, obviously. But that was amazing. Let us all have a moment of silence for that poor Amagi operator, because he got pooped on. He went up inside him with his shoes on. Now we're going to try to fire at this DD. It may happen, it may not. You know, a lot of times you end up having a really solid shot on a DD, and they're just so small that the rounds just end up impacting all around them. Moving on, 192K. We are balling, folks. We have completely just clutched this game. We've made the magic happen. I mean, there is so much good coming out of this game right now. I feel some type of way. I mean, we have just really went in there. We were a powerhouse and just shut everybody down. Everybody down. Nothing you can do is going to change the fact that we're going to poop on you. I mean, man, we are making it happen. Now, also, if you noticed, another tactic I want to mention right before this ends that what TheChuckster's doing, he's pulling out of everybody's range and he's staying within his range. And that's a smart thing to do, because nobody can get rounds on him except maybe some of the cruisers that have been seriously tweaked. And that's a wise decision to do, folks, if you're kind of in that situation. I'm not saying be one of those guys in like the far right corner halfway through the match, but, you know, in game when you're kind of in trouble, that is a good move to do. Amazing, amazing game. The Chuckster really went out there and made it happen, folks. 208,000 damage. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, share. See you next time.